What is up, my riders? Here in the state of Utah, we are entering our hunting season, and I was lucky enough to draw out for a deer. So I'm going to take you guys with me, and we're going to go get us a deer. So sit back and ride with me. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like on our videos. Let's go. So before I go, I start looking at my arrows. It's kind of an important thing to look over. So these are the Kryptos arrows, and this is a 340 spine, 29-inch arrow. It's been a really good arrow. I got it from Walmart a couple of years ago, and it's been shot quite a bit, and it's held together real good. So I would recommend, if you're on a budget, sometimes Walmart's got some good stuff. Everything's seated in there pretty tight. I'll check my ends, make sure everything's tight. Look at my fletchings, make sure they're all good, nothing's torn. If I did have a torn one, I did buy these replacement ones. So what I do is I can just put it on my arrow and then heat it, and it kind of shrink wraps itself right to where it's supposed to go. I haven't had to use these yet, so I can't tell you how good they are or how bad they are. I also have a whole bunch of end pieces here. I've got my nocturnal. I am not a real fan of the nocturnal. I know a lot of people love them. This is one of the red ones. The green ones I think are the best. You can see those in the daytime. The red are really hard to see during the day. But then I'll take my broadhead and I check my blades on there. I check my point, make sure everything's on there tight, make sure everything's sharp, which is sharp. If it's not sharp, I'll take it and run it over the stone a little bit, so that way we're tight. You can actually buy replacement blades too, so that's always a good thing to stock up on. But then I'll put my broadhead in. And I always make sure it's tight. Even before I put it on my bow, I'll make sure it's tight. Go through all those, make sure they're all tight. So these are Allen 3 blades. This is a 100 grain broadhead. This is another Allen broadhead that I have. It's a 3 blade. It's a little bit heavier. I think it's 100 to 105 grains. And I've got the Muzzy. Muzzies have been pretty good. This is a 3 blade. I much rather my Allens over my Muzzies, as sad as that is. The Allens I actually got at Walmart too, and I wouldn't say they were super cheap, but for a broadhead. My Muzzies, they were pretty expensive. And then I also have the Veteran Mechanical. And this one I haven't used hunting, but I want to give it a shot. So what I do is I'll set the spring on it, and then I bring my blades down, kind of connect everything in there, and then as soon as it hits its target, it pushes the spring back and the blades pop forward, making your wound a lot bigger and your animal to bleed out a lot quicker. Less chase time. So that's pretty much all I do on the arrow. Make sure it's all set and ready to go. And then we'll show you what we do with our bows. So this is my bow. This is the Martin Jaguar Magnum that I use. I've got a True Glow sight on there. And everything else kind of came with my bow. But I've had it for a little bit and I loved it quite a bit. So before I go anywhere, what I do is I kind of make sure that everything's on there tight. You kind of want to double check everything. You don't want anything to fall apart in the field. Let's check my weight. My weight's good and tight. I'll go ahead and check both of my bolts for my sight. And they're all tight. And then I like to go through and look at the condition on my string, make sure my string's all good, and it's looking pretty good. I like to take a little bit of wax and I'll go through and wax my string. I think this string gets a lot of wax. And what you do, this is the wax that I use. I honestly can't even remember where I got this wax, but it's been pretty good. It's the Textite. Then I'll run my fingers over where I put the wax, just to kind of warm it up and get it into the string. Then I'll flip it over. Make sure my whisker's tight. And then some of the important things to look at is your D string right here. You always want to make sure your knots are tight and good on it. My peep sight's good. I've got my silencers, they're all good. So kind of the next thing we have to do is take it out and shoot it and make sure that we are on.
So how come you're not using the arrows in your bow?
So I've got the arrows in my bow. These ones are all set up for hunting. They got my broadheads. All the arrows I'm shooting are the same weight as these ones. So that way I get the same feel and everything. And that way I can get everything sighted in. Then I have to move my sights over a little bit. If you can see the target, they're all hitting a little bit to the left. So we'll kind of adjust that before we head out. But we'll shoot this last one and we'll see where it's at.
All right.
So after a little bit of adjusting, you can see I've been hitting, this one's at 50 yards. So we're sitting pretty good on our sights. So we're ready to take it out and play. Hopefully get a deer. Nope. Ah.